please request the media team to turn on the live feed.
Yeah, we are in live, sir.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mahesh.
Hi, so is it visible? My screen is visible.
Yeah.
I think the media team needs to mute on their end.
No, it's my side, my
Okay.
problem. I think I had it on.
You've started the
Yes.
live stream also on the side. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So
go ahead, Sukrat. Start. Floor is yours.
sure, sir. We only have 4 people. Do you think we should wait for more?
No, that's fine. Because it's going to be recorded, going to be watched live. Or recorded session is also going to be watched by others.
Okay.
And people can log in later on as well.
So, good evening, everybody who has joined, who will watch it later. We are back for the second live session for Design Thinking of Primer with Dr. Bala and myself, Sukrat. I think we'll be shortly joined by Sham also, who's the other course instructor for it. So in the previous session, we had majorly touched upon most of the questions that were posted in the Google response sheet, which was provided to you earlier. In this live session, we will do a very brief recap of what we have touched upon so far. And there were a few unanswered questions left in the previous term that we will be addressing right now. Plus, we've received a couple of new questions also, so we'll be addressing those also. And for anybody who is watching on the live stream or here, we request you to put your questions, the fresh ones, on this chat. And if the time allows, we will touch upon those also. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So just to introduce myself, I am Sukrat. I am the teaching assistant for this course, along with Dr. Bala, who you've seen in the videos already. On the slide here, you can see the book written by Professor Bala. It's called Karmic Design Thinking. It's available on Amazon, Flipkart, and various different platforms. So, sir, should I just jump to the questions?
Sure. Just wanted to say good evening to folks either on this session or on who are watching us on the live stream on YouTube. And like Sukrat said, please don't stop yourself from asking questions. That's the best way to clarify anything that's going on, has gone on in this course for the last 4 weeks. As well as what's coming up next. We have some exciting stuff to declare to you during the course, apart from answering your questions, making sure that you all your butterflies are sort of calmed down, as well as wanted to also add that we are going to have an exclusive live session only for exams. So any exam related stuff, the format, all that will be discussed on September 15th. That's our date for live session. Anyway, over to you, Sukra. That's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, sir. So in the previous previous live session that we had, we discussed from everything from what is design thinking, what are the 5 stages, boiled down to 4 stages, different aspects and scenarios of design thinking, which were industry related. We answered questions on specific projects that people had undertaken and how design thinking blends in them. So the questions that were left from the last time, I'll be showing them right now. So I believe you can read my screen, sir. We did not touch upon this question last time, right? I doubt.
Yes, we did. We talked
okay.
about the optimum number. We answered it in the last live session.
Okay. So the next one that we have here, can you share examples of successful design thinking projects that have specifically tackled issues related to sustainable farming practices or farmer problems in agriculture? Given the interconnectedness of various factors in agriculture, how can design thinking help in identifying and prioritizing the most pressing problems to solve? This question is by Mr. Rahul Sevakumar.
Okay, excellent. Great question. I'll take it one by one. The first, I'll start with the one on the left. That's the easy one to answer. Your internet is the oyster. You can go look it up, and there's so many gems out there which people have shared in any discipline possible. So all you have to do is go and use the right search terms on your search engine, design thinking, case studies, and the domain name. It not only applies for sustainable farming practices, farmer problems in agriculture, but you can get it in any domain possible. This is not only for Mr. Rahul, but for also for any other domain that people may be interested in. So all you have to do is design thinking, case studies, and the domain in your search engine, and you'll get lots and lots of places where people have successfully applied design thinking on a project that they really cared about. Okay, so obviously I don't have any background in farming or sustainable farming or problems in have solved any problems in agriculture per se. However, I do have a short anecdote to and where we did consciously use design thinking in agriculture. This is for a tractor manufacturer company, and one could have stayed in the design center and tried to solve problems for the farmer. However, design thinking is not about solving it in wherever you are, but wherever the users are or the customers are. So two points to that. One, we went to the actual farm and sat with the farmers, drank the same water that they drank, ate the same food that they ate, and interacted with them in their environment. Okay, this takes a lot of time. It takes commitment from you, and you go there and you can socialize and figure this out, which is what we did. Okay, that's one thing to do. Second is, if you cannot do it, if you're far away and it's difficult, not practical for you to travel all the way to where your users are, in this case farmers, you can always, there is technology, pretty much any place in India, at least in India or any other part of the planet, is these days are well connected, and so you can use the means at your disposal to find out how to interact with these users. It could be a video call, it could be a phone call, it could be a voice over internet call. Whatever be your means, you can interact with them. Then comes the next point of sending them a question, and that's for me the last resort. If you can't do these two, we can do that. So this is how we did it. We went to the farm and actually did that, and found out that we could actually interact with them, socialize with them, and that's what we did with these farmers. Okay, so and we found out some problems that the farmers themselves did not know, and the engineers could come back and design a great solution for that. Okay, that was the what I can share for the left one. Now, interconnectedness and identifying and prioritizing the pressing problems to solve. So I agree with you. This is not a very easy thing to solve. Even in agriculture, even in other domains, it's a difficult one to solve. How can you do this, particularly given the design thinking toolkit that we have? One of the things we advise is, don't just stop with one persona, one type of person, but the other people also, to get how these things interact. So your main aim is, of course, help that human being, but also to see how the problem actually evolves. Okay, so how has it been? And you have to be curious and find out what's going on. So when we went to the farm, one group found out about crop insurance and the lack of crop insurance awareness among the farmers. One was the accessibility to the market. The third was the knowledge or the lack of knowledge of weather phenomenon on how to use that to your advantage. Next was the fact that there are You don't have to buy expensive equipment, but there are ways to finance your model. So you're getting different perspectives: finance, insurance, engineering. You can get all sorts of perspectives to the same problem. So the idea is to have as many personas as possible. People who are working in the farm, people who are hiring labor, people who are hiring equipment, people who are funding these initiatives. You can interact with all of them and try to get a piece of the entire problem itself. Of course, this requires a lot of time and effort, but this is a great way to do to understand this. So develop multiple personas in this particular problem and get a handle of what the problem really is. And that will you don't have to really have a method to prioritize and identify the pressing problems, but all these will start surfacing up slowly, steadily. Of course, use your team's prowess. So I've always said that in the past also, find a team which is multi-dimensional, meaning you should not only have technology people, but also finance sector people, societal experts, psychologists, all that, different kinds of people in your team. And definitely you could bring it to how to solve this particular problem in totality. Okay, so that's going to be my advice, is to for the problem on the right, is to look at, for the question on the right, is to look at not just one persona, but many personas, and try to get to understand how to understand the problem in totality. So that will give you the prioritized list that you're looking for. Okay.
Sir, in the DTD DAD course that we ran, we had a guest interaction with somebody who had built vertical agricultural farms, right, for colder areas. So
Right.
will that example be apt for this question?
Sure, definitely. Okay, what Sukrat is referring to is a course in IIT Madras for the BS online degree program. We fondly call that course DTD DAD, Design Thinking for Data. What is it again? Data-driven
app development.
App development. Okay, it's too long, so I forgot the title of the course. Okay, so that course we actually talked to an expert, an inventor, who has actually invented this, a farm which can be inside your room. So that's a great example of sustainable farming. And he takes the farm output and generates more input for the farm, uses resources that are available, and all the waste heat also is trying to use to see if we can warm your homes using the waste heat that is generated. So that's a great, thank you for bringing that up to our notice. And he used, design thinking not in a very explicit way, but he's a connected kind of person who will keep looking at people and what their requirements are. This is a good example. The product is called Ton a Room. My friend's name is Gosak. You can look it up, Gosak, Gosak, and you can look up his Ton a Room, as we call it. And that's an example of this sustainable practice.
Cool. Thank you, sir. So I'll jump to the next question now.
Sure.
Yeah. Are there any particular steps or important information to be collected for doing design thinking, or every question has a different approach to it?
Okay, I'm going to interpret this question as what do you do before starting on a design thinking project? What are particular things that you need to have beforehand before you can get on to actually executing the project? Okay, if my understanding is wrong, please make sure that you put that in the discussion forum saying, hey, this is not what I had in mind, X is what I had in mind. Okay, so given this interpretation, one of the core things that I would focus on before embarking on making it a design thinking project, because design thinking is effort intensive. Okay, you have to have lots of people dedicated to this project. You have to have resources allocated, people, money, time, all that have to be allocated. And then you do this, and it's quite effort intensive. Okay, so obviously you need some preparation for that. So one of the things I would ask you to do before you get onto the project is to find out what is it that I am interested in solving at a very broad level. Okay, what is it that I am interested in solving? Okay, what is the theme of the project? Okay, it needn't be a lot detailed, but at least a few lines. And one of the things my mentor and friend used to tell me is show it in 3 pictures, just 3 pictures and 2 sentences. If you can explain a problem with 3 pictures and 2 sentences, then you will be able to understand what is it that the problem that you're trying to solve. Okay, so then and also the added advantage is you will be able to communicate what is it that you want to communicate to a team member. Okay, so this is something that will definitely help you in preparing for a design thinking project. So this is step number 1. Step number 1, that is to reiterate, is collect enough information about the theme of the project. What is it that you're interested in solving for your design thinking? Second is the team. Okay, theme and team. Team is who is going to be part of this design thinking project and why are they part of your project. They could be your friend, they could be your colleagues, but why are they in this? What's their role in this? If you do not know, you should assign that right now. So they could be an interviewer. They are great at talking to people and getting into this insight. So they're very useful for empathy related stuff. That's been their experience. Great. There's a person who can build prototypes very, very quickly. Excellent. This is a person who will analyze things very, very well. That person is there. So try to see if they're useful for different parts of your project itself, right? The different steps of design thinking itself. This is a great, so theme and team. This is a great way to make sure that the team is as varied as possible, and over time you will get to know each other, what your strengths are. In case you're thrown into this project, you're just given this team and you have to start working on the project, then try to know and try to assign this based on where is it that we're going to do, what is it that we're going to do for each of those. It really helps to have different perspectives, particularly in a design thinking domain. Okay, so hopefully this answers your question. Yes, there's somebody in the...
Hi, it's me, Professor
Yes,
Bala.
Hi, yes.
It's here. Sorry, I don't know, because I'm from Brazil. I don't know. Here we call teacher. I don't know if I call you sir or professor.
Suit yourself.
Okay.
Either.
Professor, when we are talking about the customer, the customer journey map, and you have it's like you have to collect information about the customer and the customer experience. So it's what are the most important information so that we need, because there are lots of things. I made some notes here, and I am like, I don't know what is the most important. Should I write down and the most important points of dealing with
Thank you for that question.
Customers.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were done. Sorry.
Yes, about the customers, because I work with fashion, and I am a fashion entrepreneur, and I have to deal with customers a lot. And this is, for me, this is very important. So that's why I didn't understand. It was not very clear to me. And maybe this is a new subject for me. So everything is new. So
okay, thank you so much. You're on the other side of the planet for us. So that's great having you here in our live session. One of the things that, so this particular question was about what do you do, as I interpret it, is what do you do before the design thinking project itself. Whereas your question is, once I've started the design thinking project, the first step is to interact with the customer. And what do I do in order to get the maximum, maximum bang for my buck of my interaction with my customer. Okay. Before we get into that, I'd like you to keep I like you to keep one thing in your mind, which is customers are like babies, which means that they will tell you when they're uncomfortable, when they are not happy with what they are seeing with the product or the service that you're offering. Okay. However, don't take their word to be the ultimate truth. Okay. So babies can only cry. Okay. So they know they cry when they're bored, when they're hungry, when they're sleepy. But that's all the information that we get. We do not know what the exact thing that they're saying. Okay. So one of the things that I have gained out of is by observing how they interact with the customer. Okay. So see how they interact with your product. So in your case, if it's a fashion product that you have designed for them, how is it to start their entire, note it as if it's a movie. Okay. So what do they do first? How do they prepare before they get on to this? So before part of it. Okay. So how do they take this product with them? How do they prepare to take this product with them? Once they have taken the product, what do they do? Write it down step after step. If possible, with their permission, take a video, take a photograph, and then take your notes. My suggestion is to do it not as a single person, but at least as two people. One of them to observe them, and second one is to stop them and ask, oh, wait, why did you do that? That was not meant to be. A button was supposed to be started from the top to the bottom. You've actually gone from bottom. Why did you do that? And they'll say things like, oh, that's what my mom taught me. Okay, note it down. That's an important point. So I'm just making things up. I've never interacted with the fashion industry. So make sure that you cover all steps of design of their experience, step by step. Even if it is a micro step, make sure that you cover it all and cover the entire story. Okay. So this is through observation on how do they interact with them. Whenever possible, try to do it with different types of audiences, different types of customers that you interact with. Okay. This is one thing you can do. The second thing you can do is, if you have to talk to them, ask them for their worst experience with the product or service. Ask them for their worst experience. They will immediately rattle up saying, the last year I went to this store.
Yes, I understand. Because then I will do the opposite. The opposite.
So you could do that.
Their worst experience.
Absolutely. So I agree with you. You could note down the entire story from their point of view and the worst experience, and note those down. Those are key for you because it will give you problems to work on. And now invert the question and ask them for their best experience. So now you have three things. One is the best experience, one is the worst experience, and your next is the average experience. Okay. So now you have three key data points, and you do this for every customer. You will have a rich set of information on what all is the experience look like. Now it is for you to sit down with your team and try to identify where are the problem areas that are coming on? Where are some things that you need to be working on? What are the list of problems that you can then jot that down? It could be emotional. It could be, things that are not working technically. Note each of those problems down. It's very, very important. And this
can I do this alone, Professor? Can I do this alone? Because I don't have a team now. I work alone.
Take your friend along. It doesn't have to be a colleague or somebody. Why I insist on another person is you will miss out on a few points. I'm sure of it, because one person cannot cover the whole thing. That's why I suggest that you have another person. But if it's not possible, who am I to stop you? So you can go ahead and do it as one person.
Well, I'm in the very beginning of my business. So now this is, I have to do everything alone. So
sure. I understand, but you can probably, take one friend along just to take the videograph while you focus on the process, or you take the video and ask that person to just ask a few questions or take down notes. So this is why I suggest that you have another member. But if you can do it all by yourself, I mean, I have no issues against that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your questions.
So, thank you, ma'am. There are more questions in the chat box, two of which we've already included in the slide. So, they are related to the couple of questions that were in the assignment. So, we will address.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we will address them. There is another one which is somewhat related to CJM that also we will touch upon once we finish the questions here in the slides.
Okay. So,
Okay.
Sukrat, before, let this be there. But rest assured, we will make sure that justice is preserved. Okay. So your marks don't go anywhere. We will definitely take care of it. So don't worry, we are getting there. Yes, Sukrat, go ahead.
Okay. Next question by Mahathi Kuruvada is what's an example of a real world problem that was successfully solved using design thinking principles? What were the key insights or approaches that led to its innovative solution?
Oh, wow. All right. So I think this is very related to what I talked about in the agriculture example also. You can look up design thinking in your case. I can give you all the examples in the world. And there are lots of examples that have really worked very well using design thinking. So it's not a test of design thinking, the methodology or the principle itself, but it's more to do with how is it going to work for you? Okay, that's the key. So like we had the speaker from Brazil, speak about, take it and apply it to a problem that you are concerned about and see it work for yourself. Okay, so yes, I can give you examples, I can give you links, you can go and look it up. That's not a big deal. But the big deal is when you apply it yourself, what are some of the learnings that you can get? So that's going to be the key. And the answer is obviously easy. Go online and look it up, or you can refer to my tractor example, the farm example that I gave you, where we actually went to the field, found that the farmer got down from the tractor many times to clean up this add-on back of the tractor. And that led to a lot of wastage for the farmer, time wastage. And the farmer wasn't even aware of such a problem. However, we took that up as a problem to solve, and then we solved it and prototyped it quite easily. The guys are very good with prototyping. So we prototyped it, took it back to the field, and it started working very well. So for us, the key insight was that with the best intention in the world, you cannot innovate or come up with brilliant solutions back in your area of work, but you have to go actually to where your users are and find it out for yourself. Okay, and not ask the customers either, right? That's what we are also saying. So those are because the farmer was absolutely unaware that this is a problem. For them, it was the way of life. That's how they are. Okay, if it's to go back to the previous example, if it's a badly stitched cloth, you're going to live with it. You think that's the way it is done, and you are going to live with it. So it's you, the design thinker, the designer, who's going to have to come up with a better solution for your user. It's your it's your duty to do that. Okay, so that's one of the key insights for us, is that one, go to the place where the user is. Two, it's our duty to make their life better. So these are some of the key insights that we got because which led to that innovative solution.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Sorry for, pardon me if it looks very amateur.
No.
I just want to know how deep are the organizations doing this design thinking on a practical way? Meaning, are they testing each and every product or innovation or ideas based on, because now design thinking is taking shape in a big way in the industry. Is it being given that kind of a serious thought, or is it only those organizations who want to do it that way, they are doing it?
Okay, just give me a second. The light is fading, and just be back. Sukrat, may I request you to turn off the slide because this is not the question we are answering.
Sure, sir. I think I don't have any slide preview on right now.
Okay, no problem. We just take this off the slideshow and we should be fine.
Okay. I'll stop sharing altogether.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. The question is, are businesses taking up design thinking as a serious methodology? One. Two is design think. I think the second one was, can design thinking be used for everything? Is that my interpretation is that?
Something related to is it used for a new product innovation, etc. in a serious way? The first question itself answers everything. Yes.
Okay, all right. So one of the things that has happened over the last 2 or 3 decades, at least as far as I am aware of, is that design thinking has been taken very seriously by many organizations. It is no longer, people are not asking the question, what is design thinking, but what can it do for me in my organization? So this has become the conversation in the past few decades. So that's been the transformation in the last few years, at least for sure, and in the decades past also. So one of the things that has happened is that since design thinking is domain agnostic, which means that this is just a guide for you to take you towards a different kind of solution, but keeping in mind that there is a human being who's going to use this. So keeping that in mind, it's just a guide for you to take you towards that. It's not, it cannot replace the thinking that you have to do. Okay, so that's one thing for sure. So which means that it's this as abstracted by IDEO, and it's simple enough for everybody to understand and apply it to various domains. Okay, and it has been taken up very seriously by various companies. I myself have interacted with a lot of companies and academic organizations who have taken this up very seriously and have made a difference to their people that they cater to. So in a sense, it is no longer a new field, an upcoming field, but it's now pretty much established that this is going to stay and it's making a difference. Okay, one of the key advantages that people have come up and said is that the cycle times of product development has become much shorter. Okay, earlier I used to remember a time when a product, typical product evolution cycle, not evolution, but a product development cycle used to be about 6 years, 5 to 6 years at least. That's we used to assume. It depends on the product, of course, but in some arenas, it was 6 years. After a customer-centric approach was adopted, the time actually fell down to less than a year. Okay, that's a huge saving for a company. However, the issue there was that now we have to be open enough to learn from the market and be brave enough that we launch it way ahead of time. Okay, it's not yet completely ready, not prime time ready yet. So that's some of the mindset changes that happened, and it took a while for that to take place. And it's still
always changing.
I'm sorry.
The circle. I mean, it's always changing. This is what you said. It's always changing the marketing. It's cycling. It's always changing, and especially in the fashion industry, because it's always, we have a lot of problems nowadays with pollution. It's one of the most industries that pollutes most all over the world. So this is a big problem. Yep. Pollution for us. I work with upcycling. I recycle clothes.
Got it. Very nice.
You understand? Nice. So I get a dress, like, and then I change to a blouse or something completely different. Did you understand? So this is, and I do this with lots of all kinds of clothes, only for women, not for men, only for women. And this is, but this is now I am doing a project for reduce pollution, starting reduce pollution, because this is a problem. And upcycling, it was a solution. It was not a solution, but it was the beginning of the part of the solution. Did you understand? The beginning of the part of the solution.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Definitely, I get you. So this could be a way to think about the problem and how it evolves. Absolutely got it. Okay. So in fact, here's a request to you, Mathide, is to put it all for us in writing and send it to us, because this sounds like a very interesting problem
project.
To take a project for
problem.
us to look
yes, it's a problem. And I know that this is a big problem in India too. I know that in India it's a big problem.
Sorry, I haven't completed my answer to that gentleman. There's a second part to that question. So sorry to interrupt you again. So one of the things that I wanted to convey was that we think of design thinking as this solution, as this methodology which can solve everything. Now it has more tipped over to the other side, where lots of people are coming up and saying it works well with every industry and every problem. Yes, I do agree with that, but the care that needs to be taken for applying design thinking is it's effort intensive. It's going to involve a lot of resources in terms of your time, your effort, and possibly even money into this methodology. So be careful on what problems you take up to solve this. So if you're talking about something what the person who asked the question, Mr. Raghunath, talked about was if you can, you need to think about is this project worthy enough of applying a methodology like this, that I'm going to dedicate some resources and do this. Yes, it does work for new product introduction, but is that worth enough for me to dedicate this time and resources? So that's the only caveat I have. But other than that, yes, it can be used for new product introduction, for existing product development as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So, Sukrat, shall we take up the assignment problem?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Am I audible, visible?
Yes, you're audible and visible. Yes.
Okay. So in week 3 assignment, there was a question in the teacup story. What does overflowing tea represent metaphorically? The options given were creativity, old habits and knowledge, new skills and ideas, empathy and understanding. Ideally, the answer should have been new skills and ideas, but the accepted answer was old habits and knowledge in the portal. So what is our comment on it?
So, all right. So, yes, this is very, yes, the teacup story is interesting. Yes, and it has its meaning. And and you guys are right. It is true. The answer should have been new skills and ideas, because what we are saying is that any new thing you try to learn is going to just pour outside, and because you have already existing ideas of what worked and what should be, so your attempt at getting new ideas is going to be futile. That's what we are saying, and you're absolutely right. And we are going to take this up and reverse the answers, reevaluate. So that's the good news. So all your effort has accepted. Thank you for pointing this out to us. That's more key. You're paying attention to the material in the videos, and you've answered it also with your enthusiasm. So thank you so much for pointing it out to us.
So this will be corrected, and the scores will be updated after. I think the scores will reflect by tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you
Give
should
us
not-
some time. It won't happen instantly. This is unfortunately there are a lot of human beings involved in all of this, and each of them has their own set of tasks to do. So give us some time. We'll fix this. Please give us some.
Nothing wrong with the answer that you've
Yes.
selected if you've selected new skills and ideas as an
Yeah.
option. All right. The next question, again, a problem in the assignment 3 was, week 3 assignment was, what is an example of solution to the chocolate melting problem using the other way around principle? And the options that were given were heating the environment to match the temperature of the chocolate. Second option given was cooling the chocolate before shipping it and transporting it in a vacuum. Shipping the chocolate with a cooling agent that keeps it cold. And the fourth option was melting the chocolate and then reforming it into a solid shape. And the accepted answer was cooling the chocolate before shipping it and transporting it in a vacuum.
Okay. All right. So let me back up a bit and talk about the other way around principle. Other way around principle is whatever you see in front of you, doing it the opposite. If something is stationary, make it moving. If something is moving, make it stationary. If it is up, make it down. If it is hot, make it cold. If something is cold, make it hot. Problem was that the environment was getting hot, and hence the chocolate, it was melting the chocolate, and we wanted the chocolate intact. Okay. So if the environment hadn't changed, the chocolate there wouldn't have been a problem at all, right? So where is the problem? If you look at it very carefully, where is the problem? Is it at the environment level or is it the chocolate? It's at the chocolate level, right? It's actually at the interface between the environment and the chocolate. That's exact. If you really zoom in to the problem, if you really zoom in, the exact point at which that hot air touches the chocolate is where the problem is, and it starts melting. Okay. So obviously the heat from this environment should not touch the chocolate at all. Or if it touches it, it shouldn't make a difference. Okay, that's the broad level solution, so to speak. Okay, now one of the suggestions that TRIZ methodology, if you had applied it, would tell you is to do it the other way around. Okay, other way around is if something is heating up, cool it. Okay, now which means you can eliminate the answer, which is the top one, heating the environment to match the temperature of the chocolate, is not the right answer because it will make the the situation even worse. Melting the chocolate and then reforming it into a shape is again at the chocolate level, it will make it worse also. Perhaps it is a solution, but it will probably be additional work at the other end. So that's not going to be an acceptable idea either. So that leaves us out with two answers, which is, do you cool the chocolate or do you ship the chocolate with the cooling agent? Now, you can say it is either, but I'm thinking, looking at the chocolate and cooling it up, because at the end, what we want chocolates in shape. I'm not concerned about what the environment is and how it changes, right? So I'm more focused on the chocolate itself, and can it be retained in the same shape all along? So in one way, the cleverer solution is to cool the chocolate, and that comes because I have inverted the condition. Instead of heating the chocolate by the environment, can we have the environment such that it actually cools? And we do that before also. Okay, not during the journey, but before also. That's one solution, which is what I talked about. So it could be considered prior action because it's being done beforehand. But what is the action? It is cooling the chocolate. So that's the other way around. Rather than heating it, we're cooling it. Okay. So that was our thinking. That was our argument in choosing cooling the chocolate before shipping it and transporting it in a vacuum as the right answer. Okay. Now, we can have a cage fight and determine what the right answer is. But this is what we will go with. Cooling the chocolate before shipping it and transporting it in vacuum. Sukrat, is that what we had in mind?
Yes, sir. This is what we had decided. So yeah, That's how we are going to deal with this question. Do we disregard this question, or do we continue it this way?
Okay, so if it is causing such a lot of problems, we will disregard the question. We won't even count it in as part of your assignment. So that's the one step we can do. After all, you are our users, you are our customers, so we will listen to you. And we are going to not consider this question at all, since it can be interpreted. The second solution, shipping the chocolate with the cooling agent, also in one way is inverting around, because we're just saying cooling. But this was our thinking when we gave this answer. It is not without thinking that we gave the answer. So we're going to disregard this question, and we will submit it for evaluation. Thanks, Sukrat, for bringing this up.
So I'll stop. That was all the questions we had from the previous term or in the discussion forum.
Okay.
There are more questions in the chat box. I'll read a few.
Okay.
So the first is how to map a customer journey where there are two types of customers. Example, I'm working on a software that provides HR solutions for a company and provides a job application solution for applicants as well. So do I need to draw two different customer journey maps, or do I have to point out the overlapping activity and do it that way?
Okay. The answer is very simple. You need to have two customer journey maps, because these are two distinct personas that are essentially you're interacting with. Your product is interacting with two different types of people. Although they are, like you said, they are part of the same process. Overall, when you look at it, they are part of the same process. However, you will have to include these two stakeholders, which is important to you. So you will need to draw these two customer journey maps. One for the HR professional who is interacting it for the hiring process, and the other job applicant. Definitely you need to look at that also if you need a comprehensive product, get on what the experience looks like from both these perspectives. Okay. Now, one caveat, in fact, one of the things you've said is I am working on developing this solution. So since you're in the development stage, I would say don't assume that they already are interacting with your product. Make sure that you find out how is it that they are doing it today. How are they hiring people in your target organization? Go visit an organization and shadow them like a bug in the wall with their permission to see how do they hire people, how do people apply for these jobs. I have worked with people like this, and they will tell you, if you cannot shadow them and it's a long drawn process, if it runs into months, which is typically how it is, if it runs into months, then interact with them and see how they interact, even a small part of it, if you can get their journey, and that gives you a great idea on what the process looks like. What are some of the documents that they use? What are some of the processes that they use? What is the software that they interact with? Do they pick up the phone also? Do they send messages? Do they send WhatsApp? From the job applicant side, how do they prepare their resume? How do they apply for? How did they get to know of this job? How did they apply it? How long do they wait for to know anything from the HR people? Find out all about what is going on from both these perspectives, not when they're interacting with your ultimate product, but with how they are doing it today. Okay, find volunteers, find people who are doing this, and that will give you a very, very accurate customer journey map as is today. Okay, not with your solution, but with how they are doing it today. This will really help you identify some real pain points, some needs that are still unmet by today's solution, and that you can incorporate in your solution. Okay, so that's the caveat I have for you. So the quick answer to you is yes, you have to have two customer journey maps, and there will be some overlaps, but don't worry about it. Maintain them as two journey maps. Okay. That's about my trial to answer your question. If it's not answered, you can please let me know, and I will be happy to answer your question.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So Mr. Vijay Kumar is asking, what do we need to consider while applying design thinking principles, specifically in terms of cons or disadvantages?
Design thinking principles, specifically in terms of cons or disadvantages. I'm not sure I quite understand your question, but let me give it my interpretation. My interpretation is, what are things that we need to watch out when we apply design thinking on a particular project? What are some things that I shouldn't be doing, something that I should avoid doing myself? Okay. One of the key things is to that you should avoid is you've already thought of a solution when a problem presented itself. So when you decided the theme of the project, you've already decided what the solution is going to be. I don't know if you remember, Curio in my video had already thought of this solution and he presented it directly to the customer. Okay. So if you do that after the application of design thinking principles, you're coming up with the exact same solution that you had, you probably have not learned anything from your customer or from the problem itself. Okay, that's a telltale sign. So in order to keep yourself away from that, how do you not fall into that trap? You already thought of the solution. Your brain is going to keep telling you, hey, this is the solution. No matter what analysis you do, that's the solution that keeps coming back. Okay, how do you stop yourself from doing that? Remember the teacup story, right? Write it down. Write that solution down. Your brain knows that I have written this solution down. There's no point doing that again. Your brain will be forced to think of some other newer solutions. Okay, so that's one of the tricks that I have. One of the things that to watch out. The second thing to watch out is this is a team thing. So when you're interacting with few people, there will be a lot of strong biases, which is great. You should count them all for sure, but don't let that dominate the project. Follow the process. Okay, so dominating personalities are good to continue make the project move along. However, that may introduce the biases also that they bring along as well. So keep in mind that all of this is not a democratic process per se, but you're focused on the user. So look at that and see what all you can grasp from the whom you're interacting with. Make sure that you document the whole process. Okay, make sure that every little single detail is written down. Every diary, mobile phone, notes. I don't know. There are several software notes that can help you document everything. Have a shared document that is transparent to the entire team so that you can keep track of it. We use our favorite tool, Sukrat, Shyam and I love this tool called Mural. Mural.co, mural.co. We love this tool because it's very easy to use and it's easy for collaboration. We use that in all our workshops. It's a shared document. Everybody can see what's going on and things are written down, and it's very difficult to it's easier to keep track of biases that way. You know that when lots of ideas are technology oriented, you know that there are that's the only domain we are focused on. Okay, so be mindful, be watchful of certain directions that your team is taking. Okay, another one is asking the customer if this kind of a solution, will that make you happy? You know, they are obviously undergoing a problem. You figured this out, and telling them straight away, just telling them, not showing, getting a prototype and making them interact, but telling them does this kind of solution will solve your problem? Probably they'll say yes, probably they'll say no, but you have not learned anything new out of that. So be mindful of that also, that the customer probably is saying whatever comes to their mind just to keep you happy or to get rid of you. Okay, in some cases to get rid of you. So be mindful of that may not. So they cannot lie through actions. So give them the prototype and see does that solve their problem or not. So that's why it's important to keep your prototype ready and then find out if it actually solves the problem or not. So these are some of the main points I've covered. There's a long list of other cons or disadvantages that are there that one can have.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, it answered.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is by Ms. Ragini. The question is, good evening, sir. I have a query. How can I design any software by learning this course?
Well, good question. It's the same process no matter what you're doing. Okay, the design thinking as a guiding methodology or a principle is absolutely the same, whether you use it for like we had this Matide from Brazil who said, I'm using it to design clothes. So be it. You're designing it to develop a high-tech product like a tractor. So be it. Or a software. The process is identical. Okay, the process is about putting yourself in somebody else's perspective and getting to know what is it that is going on. How do I identify what their journey looks like and how it can be improved? How can it be made better? How can their life be made better than what it is today? That's our main focus. Okay, so whether it is you're designing a software or you're building a high-tech product, it's absolutely the same. Okay, so if it's a software, try to see how is it that they get a software is meant to solve a problem for somebody, right? How do they solve it today? If your software is not already there, try to find out how do they solve it today. If it is not solved, what do they do to get by? Okay, try to find that out. Go into their psyche. Talk to people. Designing a software can be done in your comfort zone, but break that open. Go to the place where your users are. Sit with them and see what is it that they do in order to get by. Okay, this is one of the key things that I learned is you can stay in your comfort zone and do something. But it's a lot more effective for both your user and yourself to go there and figure it out together or by yourself. Usually the customer is probably they're not aware of their problem. So you need to figure this out. So do that and then set the ball rolling. After that, it's going to be quite an exciting journey trying to figure out what the exact problem is, try to generate a solution or solutions, and then a prototype, and then now go back to your customer. Exactly the same process even for software design. In fact, it's no different for software as with high-tech product or with fashion technology. It's the same thing. Okay, thanks for that question, Ragini. That is very interesting.
Can I please ask a question at this point of time?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah, just one question I wanted to ask. Listening, Balasa, to your previous answer, by any means, when we sit with a very systematized method of design thinking, is there a chance of losing some creativity, which can come very randomly? Say, for example, a Jugaad principle, or otherwise also. Are there chances that we lose very randomized creativity? This I wanted to know.
Okay, so the only quote I have in this case is by an eminent musician who said, freedom within discipline. Okay, so you can have unbridled creativity, but if you don't have the discipline to put it together, it's going to be very, very difficult to realize the ideas that you have. Okay,
Yes.
the musician,
this is my problem.
The musician, if you're aware of, is Ustad Amjad Ali Khan. He plays the sarod. I'm sorry, he plays the, what is it called? Sarod, yes. So he talked about ideas, but within a framework. Okay, so you can get your wacky ideas, your unconstrained ideas, but it should be at the service of your user or your customer. Okay. In some cases, they are different. In some cases, they are the same. So
yeah,
make sure that your wacky ideas are...
Asking was also user only.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Sir, I was saying my context also is a user or solving the problem. That's true. That remains in the mind. Okay. But sometimes when we go very systematically, it may happen. I feel so. I don't know I'm right or wrong. That's exactly, I wanted to know your perspective.
Sure. Yeah, so, exactly my perspective is that when you follow the process, whatever comes out is going to be a good solution. You can use your creativity. That's why we have this whole phase of solve, where you can generate any idea that you want. There's nothing stopping you from it. So one of the steps that we do just after we have done analysis is to generate all sorts of ideas and put it down. Okay, as a group, we sit down and write down all ideas so that we don't miss anything. That's one. Two, if you're stuck for ideas, we don't know we can't think of anything else to solve the ideas. Can I now use TRIZ inventive principles to generate even more ideas? So that's the idea. Solve is to give you that freedom to generate as many ideas in any domain, anything you want. So nobody's stopping you from generating those wacky ideas at all in that phase.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. I think we're just about out of time. Sukrat, we can wrap it up now.
Sure, sir. Sir, somebody has been messaging me. Can you please write to me, Mr. Ashish? I don't really know what you want a suggestion for. Sir, just one last question I think we should answer. Where shall we find case studies of companies' design thinking process? Is there a repository of such a thing?
Okay, so I think this is the third time I'm going to answer this question in this live session itself. Case studies are plenty available out there. Okay, so since this methodology is applicable everywhere, it's going to be impossible for me to tell you one particular repository. Use the internet, use any tools at your disposal to look for design thinking case studies followed by your domain name. You will get as many as you want. People have been very generous in documenting and publishing their work out there. Blogs, journals, websites, they've all been out there. Okay, so that's one thing you can definitely find. However, our emphasis is on direct application of this in a problem, in a theme that you care about. It is not about the methodology. It is not about how clever other people have used it. It is about you using and making a difference to somebody else. This is our emphasis in this course. Okay, you saw Siddharth and company use this methodology on a problem that they cared about. Okay, so you can watch others do it, or you can do it yourself. So I would suggest you do it yourself. Okay, so thank you so much for that. And soon, one last thing I want to do before we close this session is there is a workshop for people who have registered for this course or the previous courses on October 4th, 5th, and 6th. And we will follow it up with an announcement soon. You will see it in your inboxes. We'll post it as an announcement. And we would like you to one, give a short proposal on what you plan to do in that workshop. And two is just show up. Yeah, so just submit that. You will get a link soon from us. October 4th to 6th, 10 to 5 India time is when we are going to have this workshop. It's all online. Because we want to encourage people from everywhere to participate. This is for people who have registered for this course or have taken it in the past. So you can participate. I think there's a number limit that you can register, but we would encourage you to register with your proposal, a short write-up on what is it that you want to work on in this time. If there are a lot of numbers, then we'll use that as a criteria. Otherwise, we are open to taking you into this workshop. So this will be in the month of October, first week of October, 4th to 6th. So I'm very happy to announce that. Thank you so much for your time. And I will see you in the next live session on September 15th. Thanks, Shyam and Sukrat, for arranging this. And thank you, everyone, in this session, as well as people who are on YouTube who have asked these questions and have patiently listened to this. Thank you so much. Okay, see you and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
She said, I'll give you my email ID. You can write to me if there is something that needs to be addressed.
Yes, sir, please.
What is it? I mean, I don't want to take it up on the online streaming right now, so you can just write to me, okay?
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I'll do that. Actually, I'm keeping up with this course because I'm in process of developing new curriculum for the students,
Okay.
for the undergrad students. So that's why I'm taking up this course. But due to some unforeseen circumstances, I was just unable to keep up with the thing which I have posted on the text to you. So
Okay.
it will be good if you provide me with this
No
solution.
problem. So I would request you to take my email ID from the chat box that I've just entered there. Okay, and if you can, a little bit in description, if you can mail to me what your problem is, me and the professor will probably get to you soon enough with the solution for that.
Sure,
Is that
sure.
okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for attending. Have a great day.